So what do you do if you're a globalist and you're losing? This is the question. Do you do something really stupid? And that's what I worry about. Do we suddenly send forces into Western Ukraine once the Russians overrun everything in June, and in an attempt to somehow or another hold back the inevitable, and think that if we do this, this is going to somehow or another impress the Russians? The Russians are not impressed anymore. The Russians, if anything, the Russian people are furious. We should be grateful that Mr. Putin has turned out to be someone capable of exercising restraint. This is not someone who's given to emotion and ruled by emotion, thank God. But here we're ruled a lot by emotion, and that worries me. The use of military power for the sake of using it is disastrous. I think it's killing us as a country. I mean, everyone complains about China. If you look at China, they come in with lots of cash, and they offer to do things and expand their relations, but they're not interested in involving themselves in the internal affairs of other societies. We seem to want to involve ourselves in everyone's internal affairs. We don't seem to want to respect other people's cultures, other people's way of doing business. It's sort of interesting, the same people who insist, well, Putin wants to rebuild the Soviet empire, are the same people saying, well, the Russians are incompetent, stupid, and unprepared to fight. So which is it? Which position are you going to take? Now, I don't think the Russians are stupid, incompetent, but I do think they had no intention of fighting a major war, and they only maintained the military power they needed for defense, and that turned out to be inadequate. So now we really are going to see reemerge, it's already begun, a powerful Russian military establishment on the European continent, in Eurasia. Far more powerful and far more capable than the Chinese forces. We keep talking about China, but the Chinese militarily are midgets compared to the Russians. And the Chinese will admit that. That's one of the reasons the Chinese are there hand in hand to try and buy the technology and the capabilities the Russians produce. So we've created the very thing we said we didn't want. And there's the danger. Do we have some fool who thinks, well, we can use just a tactical nuclear weapon? I always love that. What's a tactical nuclear weapon? Well, it's 5 kilotons or less. What does this suggest? Well, it suggests that, we just want to use a small weapon to make a point. This is insane. Because your opponent is going to say, well, they're using a nuclear weapon. That means we better use our arsenal quick, or we risk losing it. The use of any nuclear weapon, under any circumstances, it will produce Armageddon. We need to understand that. And I don't see any evidence for that on Mr. Putin's agenda at all. But I hear people in Washington say stupid things about it regularly. There are still foolish, deranged people here who believe you can fight and win a nuclear war.